the fuck is the doorbell ringing at 2 in the fucking morning?
Your doorbell? It's Jack Frost. He's coming for you.
As soon as we sing, they just fucking heard my doorbell ring.
That's amazing.
What if it is Jack Frost?
He's come to take you away.
How'd you like to be one of my elves?
He's come to ask you to be his elf.
And you can't refuse.
I believe when I see it, fuck. I'm not going downstairs.
You're too afraid that it might actually be Jack Frost.
No, I'm just fucking lazy.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fair.
So welcome
You know
back
how
to
I-
Cause and Effect, I guess. This is episode,
Is that
what,
opening?
16?
No, that
Is that
That should be.
this is week 17.
Is it? Fuck.
Holiday gold, North Pole, North Pole.
Welcome back to Cause and Effect. This is week 17, which means that this week we watched the Santa Claus 3 The Escape Clause for the 17th time. I'm John.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Theodore. I'm gonna just go right ahead into my shining light because I don't have anything else to talk about. If that's okay with you two.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
When Santa says, "Shoot the puck, Daddy-O," when he's describing Canada stereotypes, I don't know why, but just the way he says that line in particular really stuck out to me. It was good.
I'll just get into my shining light straight away. Because I was really tired when I started my watch on Friday night, I paused and stopped a bit and watched the rest of it when I woke up on the Saturday morning. As I was really tired, when Jack Frost was rooting through the bean closet and whatnot, I missaw the, dog toys on the conveyor belt as elf furries. And
Oh no! Okay.
Elf furries.
yeah, no, I just completely brain farted and saw, the dog toys as elf furries, and that's not even related to the movie, it's just me being tired in the morning.
Oh. So you just saw those dog-shaped objects on the conveyor belt and thought to yourself, yeah, it's perfectly reasonable to assume that these are elves dressed in animal costumes in this movie
Yes.
from 2006 by Disney.
Yes.
Fair enough. My shining light actually has to do with what I was doing when I was editing last week's episode.
Interesting.
Because during the "This is what Canadians look like" scene, I got a really good look at Bud's face when he was saying no.
Mm-hmm.
He just looks so sad when he finds out that Rochester, New York is not in fact in Canada.
Yeah, that's a really good face.
Yeah,
Bud is the source of many good faces.
Yeah, Bud is the good face machine.
Right. And speaking of that scene, actually, I didn't catch it until I was watching it earlier this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Canada is playing during that scene.
Oh. Canada.
Hi!
Glad we both went for that.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
I usually just tune out most of the background audio because it's all just generic Christmassy stuff, except for da 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 da.
That is a Christmas song.
Well, no, I mean that's the only one I can't tune out because it's just it's stuck in my brain.
Right. But I was listening to it and I was trying to think what Christmas song is this? And then I realized, wait a minute, this isn't a Christmas song. It's the Canadian national anthem.
One thing I noticed this week that I only just noticed, I'm pretty sure you guys may have noticed before, but I only just noticed that the stage area where North Pole takes place is literally just the toy factory area in the normal timeline.
Oh. So he just doesn't make toys anymore.
Yeah, and that's why it's used as a stage. I didn't notice it because of the lighting. It looked like it was outside. And did he just tear out the roof or something?
It could be.
I don't know. I actually took a lot of notes this watch.
I didn't because it was a plain old normal boring watch where I was tired, didn't want to deal with anything, and it's just fuck, I've still not watched the movie. I guess I gotta fucking do it.
I mean, it was a plain watch for me too, but it was the first time in weeks that I actually got a chance to pay good attention to the movie. And so I noticed a few things that I didn't catch before. Just a couple of really good lines. For example, I never caught that Bud says that you can cook a woolly mammoth in the kitchen, in the oven.
How did you never catch that? That's
I
a
don't
really
know.
good
I guess I was just paying too much attention to what else was going on around them that I wasn't paying attention to the dialogue during that scene.
That's fair.
Speaking of Bud, I like his like suspicious look at the hammer he gets when he taps it on the wood and it tinks metallically. Like
He's
it's just like
confused
"No,
by the
this is
sound
not
effect."
a ham. Yeah, he's just disapproving of that wrong sound effect. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this hammer?
Another thing is when Santa's on the phone with Curtis and he says, "Of course the bears are machine washable. Just put it on the card.
Oh, I didn't notice. Just put it on the card.
Just put it on the card," he says. Like, because they're gonna go out with a tub full of bears to a public laundromat, and they're gonna just pay to have them all cleaned.
So
of
is
course.
Santa government funded?
I guess.
Yeah. that
So
would
hang
seem to
on,
be the
what
conclusion.
bank is his credit card under?
Ooh,
Um,
there's probably a real answer here, but
how many banks like do we know of that it could be on? Like, all right. First, we need to determine.
it's going to be a bank with North in the name somewhere.
Well, it can't be
Oh,
Bank
right.
of America.
No.
Yeah, we need. All right, I think we can determine this either based off of a city pun or based off realistically where Scott Calvin lived before he became Santa.
Yeah, which was in somewhere.
Yeah, he
Where the
lived in somewhere.
He lived
Where the
in
fuck did Scott
Christmas.
I think
Wait, that's a different
actually
movie.
he lived
That's a
in
different-
New York, maybe? Or am I mistaking it with Elf?
I think you're
You're probably
mistaking
mistaking
that
it
with
with
Elf.
Elf. Yeah, that sounds like Elf.
Hmm.
But to be fair, I think both movies actually take place in New York. I mean, we could probably get a better idea if we fucking watched the first two movies.
But you know what we do know is that this movie was filmed in Canada.
That
Yeah.
is true, yes.
The only Canadian bank that I know is TD, and that's just because they moved down here. I don't
So
think
you...
I don't know about that.
No, I think that would be Jack Frost's bank of choice.
We'll have to think about this and come back to it later.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think this
I
can
think-
be...
Santa economy is something we need to figure out
The
on our
North
own
Pole
time.
economy.
Exactly. How does it work? We'll never know.
Also, I don't know why... I got a good... It's not quite my signing light because I already told you my signing light, but one thing I just found particularly amusing this watch was Sandman's awkward laugh after the North Pole was mentioned.
Oh yeah, it's not
That's
like
pretty
we're
good.
going to the North Pole. Aha!
Sandman just seems to be having a good time with this whole thing.
Yeah, he really does.
I wish we got more Sandman screen time because he just seems like he's just kind of cool to hang around with.
Like when he points at the shitty tree and just goes, festive.
I still can't figure out what is decorating that tree, and that bothers me. So
yeah,
much.
no, it looked like there were some tiny tennis racket type things.
Well, what do grandparents usually put on their trees?
Generic ornaments, which check, there are those.
Those little
Angels.
picture frames, which may or may not contain stock photos.
Yes, exactly. Angels, I guess. What else?
Yeah.
It's
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me considering Bud and Sylvia's seeming obsession with them as some swans.
generic white lights, not colored lights, which, I mean, fair enough, but it's just a trend I noticed.
Yeah, for a second there, I thought you were going to say, like, generic anime pictures.
No.
What?
No. Well,
did you get
I
if
have
a,
no
grand,
idea,
if a
man.
grandma or grandpa put up anime pictures on their Christmas tree, that's one fucking rad grandpa or grandma.
This one is Goku.
Dude, a grandparent like that would be fucking rad.
I would love if my grandparent put up one of those awful generic picture frames and inside was a photo of Goku.
This one is Goku.
Oh my god, that's... Maybe the issue with the Santa Claus 3 is that it just doesn't have enough anime.
Grandma loves Goku.
Grandma loves Goku. Why does that sound like it could be the name of a shitty video or something?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
Grandma loves Goku.
Grandma.
A real
I'm glad my
story.
misassumption has led on to this beautiful.
It's rare. It's rare to get an episode title this early.
Grandma loves Goku.
This one is Goku.
Speaking of the in-laws, I have a question.
Yes.
When the tree falls over and everybody's getting all upset at each other, Bud says, "That's it, we're leaving."
Yeah.
Where is he going to go?
I think what he's assuming is that there's an airport and they're just going to go home.
Yeah, no.
How's
Either
he gonna
that or
get
he's just going to go
tickets?
to like the Canadian. He
He
thinks
is
he's going to
going
go to the
to
Canadian
buy them.
border.
He doesn't know where he is. He's never been to Canada before. For
He
all he
didn't
knows, the
bring a
nearest
GPS.
airport is. Well, I guess.
He didn't bring a map or a GPS. He's just got his underwear in a bag.
I guess because he thinks he entered through an airport, he assumes that he's going to be able to leave through one.
Yeah, unbeknownst to him, he is trapped and cannot escape.
Don't forget, you're here forever.
Don't forget, you're
Santa
here
has
until I
the
go out on my
hostage.
delivery and send you home.
Santa puts you under the kids' tree.
Where do you think you're going? This is the North
What?
Pole. There's no escape.
Well, I'm glad we're back to Santa Eldritch horror.
This is more like Santa commits a felony.
Santa Commits
I mean,
a
I can-
Felony is my favorite Christmas movie.
I mean, that...
Oh.
Oh, no.
It's
Also,
also
that's-
called Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Oh, shit, that is Santa commits a
Santa
felony.
commits a felony.
Oh.
We can somehow force Goku in there.
Oh, wait, no. Alright,
Oh yeah,
speaking... Oh, no,
the
no,
Dragon
guys,
Ball
guys.
Z and Grandma got
Wait, I
run
got
over
it.
by a
Grandma
reindeer.
got
No,
run
no,
over
God.
by Goku.
Gone,
What?
Ted. I just remembered, if we're gonna be having anime in this, like, imagine the Santa Claus 4 : Seinfeld with anime, and you can just have Jerry Seinfeld anime sweat clops.
Yes,
Yes.
Jerry Seinfeld with an anime. Oh,
Jerry
okay.
Seinfeld sweat dropped.
I think
I have
we're
a question,
going to.
actually,
Okay,
since
but
you brought
alright.
it up.
yes.
Jerry Seinfeld, I came to the epiphany today, is
Yes.
Jewish.
Uh-huh.
He's going to become Santa Claus, the man who embodies Christmas. Emphasis on the T in Christmas.
Yes, I see no issues with this whatsoever. Continue.
Okay. But
This is perfectly fine.
I would find it
100%.
funny if he put on the coat and then he, like, transformed into the patron of Hanukkah, but then I realized that there is no such thing.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that... Wait, what
I'm
are
saying
you
that Jerry
saying?
Seinfeld transforms into a big menorah.
That's an idea, I guess.
That's not at all what I was saying, but I figured it would be funnier.
Okay.
Oh, good.
That's fair.
Also, there's this random elf, like in the early parts of the movie. I think it's going the labor sequence. He's just got like a beach ball in a basket. I'm like, why does he have a beach ball?
I feel like we've discussed this one before.
I have an important
What?
question. If Goku is in the Santa Claus 4: Seinfeld, does the subtitle actually become the Santa Claus 4 Seinfeld versus Goku?
I think we'd have to amend the title slightly. It would be, the Santa Claus Z,
The Santa Claus Z Seinfeld versus
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld. Okay, that works.
Can we get Santa Claus Super in the future, like 20 years after Santa Claus Z ends?
I feel
Future
like
Seinfeld comes back in time to stop Jack Frost from freezing Goku. I don't know.
I feel like the ending for Santa Claus Z: Seinfeld would just be that the two fight, but realize that they are kindred spirits and just start hanging out and being bros.
I want to see Seinfeld as Santa Claus go Super Saiyan.
Oh, that will happen. Don't worry. They will have
yeah,
a
no,
Super
that would
Saiyan
totally
battle,
happen.
and then
Or,
realize
Super
that they're
Santa
actually
as it is.
Super Santa.
no.
Yes.
No. It's revealed in canon that all Santas inherit a little bit of Saiyan blood as they become Santa.
Okay. Okay, so the coat has that power too.
And I was them to become Super Saiyan, or as they've started dubbing it, Super Santa.
Super Santa.
Is that where Santa gets his ability to deliver all the gifts in one night?
That's
Is
why
from
he
his
has
Saiyan
Ultra
blood?
Instinct.
Yeah, it's well, no, Ultra Instinct isn't inherent to Saiyans. Anyone can master Ultra Instinct.
But
Oh, really? I haven't watched Super, so I'm just making jokes.
So, off the subject of Goku, I did want to ask a
I know
question.
it's hard to get off the subject of Goku. But
I did
please.
want to ask a question, and this was something I was pondering when I was watching the movie, actually. At the time that the movie was being shot and recorded, who on set do you think wanted to be there?
I think pretty much only the actor for Tooth Fairy and Martin Shaw also probably wanted to be there. Yeah, those are the only two that stick out to me that probably wanted to be there.
Alright.
Maybe Sandman's actor?
I ask this because I tried paying a little bit more attention to the energy that people actually put into their performances, and well, I mean, like you're saying, Tooth Fairy does not have very much to work with, but what he does have, he puts a good amount of effort into, coloring in that character, filling in some detail, well, not details, but giving them a personality, And Martin Short as Jack Frost is, as we've said before, pretty good.
Yeah, he actually puts in some amount of energy that actually makes the character of Jack Frost feel like not a wooden board
Yeah.
or a cardboard cutout put in shopping malls all
Makes
across
Jack
North
Frost
America.
seem like a real person, which I think is important in a movie, is that your characters don't feel like characters on a screen.
Right. Yeah. Which I think maybe, is that the issue with Curtis?
Yes,
Definitely.
100%.
Curtis just doesn't feel like a person. He just feels like a plot device used to move the story forward.
I think you could probably say the same about Cupid in that case. Because,
Yes.
yeah, Cupid has not many lines, admittedly, so it's hard to get a good gauge on that. But the few that he does have are just served to, plant the seeds of conflict, I guess. Even if
I
unintentionally.
mean, honestly, Cupid is a villain. Can we put him on the villains wiki?
Yes, put Cupid on the villains wiki.
Is there a section for unintentional villains or something?
Trivia, Cupid likes the draft. That's all you got. That's all you get from Cupid.
He doesn't mind it more than anything. Although, I guess you could interpret that as him liking it.
Either way.
Yeah, I think that one can go either way. But, yeah, there's a lot of actors in this movie that I don't feel like really want to be there.
I would say Sandman put a lot of energy into his performance, but his performance was intentionally him not having a lot of energy, so it's hard to tell, really.
Yeah.
I mean, his fake laugh and his, jabbing at Bud and Sylvie's attempt at Christmas is good and pretty high energy.
Bud,
Like,
I'm not sure how to feel about, Bud's wanting or not wanting to be in the movie.
I don't... Yeah, a lot of his lines come off as, cynical, which makes it hard to grasp whether he actually wants to be there or not.
That could be interpreted as either he doesn't want to be there or he's just doing a good job with his character. So that's hard to say.
I think he might just be doing a good job with his character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
probably.
Sylvia, I don't know, Sylvia's there.
Sylvia's
I
there.
don't think
That's a
Sylvia
good way
wants to be there
describe it.
being hit on by Martin Short playing as Jack Frost.
Mrs. Claus is good. We've been over this.
Yeah,
And Tim Allen is... Tim Allen.
dying. Tim Allen is just dying and wants to break out of this contract, so then he just wants the paycheck already.
Tim Allen has a surprising amount of energy for a man who is literally in pain while he's wearing that suit.
Yeah, I was going to say, here's the thing though, does he want to be there or is he just obligated to be there?
I think he's obligated to be there.
I think he enjoys playing the part of Santa.
Yeah.
To an extent, but I feel like he's starting to grow tired of it.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
I'm
there's
offended.
not a Santa
Yeah.
Claus 4, so I would say he's probably tired of it. Unless...
Tim Allen used the escape clause to remove himself from the contractual obligation of having to play Santa.
Yeah. I'm just... Okay.
Honestly, if they do make a Santa Claus 4, that would actually be perfect to set up a new Santa in the form of Seinfeld.
So Tim Allen dies and Seinfeld gets the coat. We've been over this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But-
That's what I mean. Like, if Tim Allen doesn't want to be Santa, but they still want a new Santa Claus, that's why they bring in Jerry Seinfeld.
Okay, serious question though. Do you think there is a possibility of them making a Santa Claus 4 at this point? Because it's been
No.
like 12 years at this point.
It's been 12 years since it was 12 years since the first Santa Claus.
That's
It's
the
been
thing
24
though.
years since the
That's
first Santa.
that
It's been-
kind of doesn't rule it
It's
out.
been 24 years since the first Santa Claus, guys.
Oh, but personally, reboot the franchise.
It's been 24 years since the first Santa Claus. What the fuck?
Are you having a realization now?
I did not realize that this world existed for that long.
Yeah, the
That
world.
this Santa Claus... The Santa Claus has existed for that long. We have lived in a world in which the Santa Claus has existed for 24 years.
The Santa Claus is older than I am.
It's older than I am.
It's-
Which is pretty obvious.
It's barely older than I am. Wait, did it
Oof.
come out at Christmas?
Probably. It's a
I
Christmas
might be a
movie.
few months older than the Santa Claus.
Okay, at least one of us is.
At least one of us.
If it came
can-
out at Christmas, I'm a couple months younger then. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not
but
gonna
here's
go
the thing-
like, oh god, I'm old, because obviously no.
No.
Alright, but here's the thing though. Even if you were born a few months before it came out, you won't remember a world without the Santa Claus.
That's
Yeah,
true.
the world at this point can be split up into pre-Santa Claus and post-Santa Claus, and we will never know that pre-Santa
So
Claus
we're living.
world.
So we're living in 24 ASC after Santa Claus. We have a new way
yes.
of measuring years. Okay, cool.
TASC, Tim Allen Santa Claus.
Okay, and then a new era will happen once there's a Santa Claus reboot with a new Santa. Okay, I see. That works.
Yeah. We'll have to wait until Seinfeld gets the coat so then we can start measuring things in AS after Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah, of course. And then all the years before that will be BS before Seinfeld.
Okay. What younger actors would you want to see in a movie? If we couldn't get like the older actors and say what newer upcoming young actors would you want to see play the role of Santa?
I'm gonna be real. I don't watch enough movies to be able to give an answer for this.
I don't either, but let's count not so movie people, but like internet celebrities as well.
Oh no, I don't like that idea.
No,
but
no internet celebrities, please, because
Yeah.
internet celebrities don't know how to act.
Yeah, they don't.
It would make for a good I Want
You
It
could-
movie.
They don't know how to act in two different ways, either professionally or publicly.
Yeah, I think the only actor that I would like to see fill the role of Santa Claus is Chris Pratt, because I think that the dichotomy would be amusing.
I could see that. Yeah. Yeah.
But that might just be because Chris Pratt is the only actor that I've seen in a while that I find remotely funny.
Amusing. Yeah.
That's fair.
Also, speaking of future direction of things, I want to see a Santa Claus movie that is narrated by Stephen Fry.
Actually, I changed my answer. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
As Deadpool, as Santa.
That sounds like the plot to Deadpool 3.
Deadpool
Deadpool
becomes
3 The
Santa.
Escape Clause?
Oh shit! Oh shit! Wait! No, Deadpool 3 and Santa Claus 4 or 5 are the same movie.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu, so
That's true.
Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool as Santa isn't out of the question.
That's true.
I hate that actually sounds feasible.
Yeah, it
Maybe
sounds
not
logical.
Maybe not in a necessarily Santa Claus universe context, but I could actually see them doing like a Ryan Reynolds as Santa Christmas movie at some
I mean,
point.
hey, people who grew up on the first Santa Claus, they're reaching their 30s at this point. Maybe they want a more mature Santa Claus sequel. Disney owns Marvel. They can make it happen.
No!
Wait, so hold on a minute. No, fuck you. I'm going to go back on a conversation that we had a little while ago and sort of in that same vein imply that they introduce Santa Claus as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, because technically we can tie it into the Pete's Avengers.
Oh yeah, the Pete's Avengers. Speaking of which, I didn't bring it up during the podcast, but the Nick Fury of the Pete's Avengers is Papa John.
Hell yes! Okay.
Fuck yes.
I'm so
Fuck
into
yeah.
that. Just by the name alone. Because
Yes.
it's so good.
All right. Let's move on from this awful train wreck into a different train wreck. I was watching the movie, paying really close attention to certain aspects of the movie that I was not paying any attention at all to on my previous 2 watches.
Mm-hmm.
2 things that I noticed. One, Neil has really big ears.
That's
Yeah.
something to point out.
Okay.
And the other is that when Tim Allen is getting upset at the fact that people are paying to put themselves and their children on the nice list, Curtis looks legitimately confused that Tim Allen has a problem with this. Like,
Yeah.
nobody has ever objected to it before. Or perhaps
I
Curtis is
think
just
that's
that
just
brainwashed.
Curtis being confused that there's someone sane in the world at the moment.
Well, maybe he's confused because he's completely brainwashed by the idea that Jack Frost is Santa Claus and he has to listen to everything that he says.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, okay.
doesn't really-
Here's the thing. How does Jack Frost have more control over Curtis than Tim Allen does?
Like, I'm pretty sure that if Tim Allen got upset at the naughty nice kiosk or whatever it's called, the nice list kiosk, that any other elf would be like, yeah, you get him, Tim Allen. But Curtis looks distraught almost.
Here's what I think. In the normal future, Curtis is hard on Tim Allen because he perceives Tim Allen as slacking off and not doing his job, essentially. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Yes.
I think in the bad future, what Jack Frost has established as his job, he's not slacking off from. He's doing it perfectly fine. So Curtis doesn't have an issue.
I suppose
He's rewritten the definition of what Santa's job is, so Curtis can't be upset about it. And maybe this is due to some sort of elf magic. Maybe not. Who knows?
Either that or, like, I think it's, like, some form of, like, elf lore. That
Elf
you can
lore.
just, like, write on, like, parchment or something. Like, whatever you write on the elf lore parchment becomes, like, actual elf lore that elves have to follow by, like, brainwash magic.
I don't know, but even if you're not making that up, that sounds like a plausible explanation for it.
Yeah, I can
Like,
see
I
it.
just totally made that up, like, on the top of my head, like, literally as Ted was explaining his thing.
See, I'm thinking that, like you said, that Jack Frost is not slacking on the job of Santa. He technically is, because the job of Santa includes delivering toys, and Jack Frost basically says, I'm too lazy to do that, I have everyone come up here.
Well, I think, like I said, though, I think it's more that he's redefined it than anything else.
Yeah, he's
So
redefined Santa.
Would there not have been a massive backlash against Jack Frost, or did he silence all opposition?
Well, backlash from who?
From the elves?
Council.
The council,
legendary
maybe?
thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, unless you're implying he killed the rest of the Council of Legendary Figures.
Here's the thing. The elves, we can kind of assume they're bound to Santa's will in a way. If their job is to keep, let's say, their job is to keep Santa in line with what his job is, if Santa rewrites what his job is, then they don't have much control over that.
Yeah, so the only people that could stop Jack Frost are the Council of Legendary Figures.
But they don't make an appearance whatsoever in the bad future and are in fact not even mentioned, which is really strange.
So, it's the implication here is if Jack Frost silenced all opposition, would the implication be that he killed the Council of Legendary Figures?
That would be terrifying, but we don't have enough information one way or the other to really say.
There's no sense. Like, alright. As we see in normal future, it's always daytime in the North Pole because that like actual time scaling and like the sun moving around. In the bad future, it's night, and that doesn't really happen if it's like the exact same time as it is in the normal future.
True.
And it's just like, okay, something's out of whack here. Like nature is not working as it's meant to be, or time isn't working as it's meant to be.
So you're implying that because the time, like, because the day and night doesn't stay consistent between the two futures, that the legendary figures of either or both time and nature do not exist anymore.
Guys, this is terrifying. This is terrifying. Jack Frost somehow stops the rotation of the Earth to make it Christmas all year round.
Oh,
So it's like-
shit!
It's basically like that one episode of Fairly Odd Parents where Timmy wishes it was Christmas every day.
Yes, only with much greater implications.
Yeah, he's caused a permanent ice age, basically.
Pretty much.
And he's dipped half the world into, like, dark side of the world type of scenario.
Right, there's a dark side and a light side of the world, and I guess now the North Pole is on the dark side?
The North Pole's on the top of the Earth, Ted.
Yeah, but why is it
Yeah,
night?
but here's the thing, though. It's nighttime at the North Pole, which that
Well,
means it would have to
'cause
be
the
nighttime.
rotation of the Earth isn't, perfectly vertical. And so
Yes,
there are
Yes,
some
but
I
times
no,
understand.
here's the thing.
There's sometimes
It's-
when the Arctic is always facing away from the sun, and there are sometimes when it's always facing towards the sun.
That's fair, but hold on a second, because the time that we go back to in the bad future is the exact same time as in the good future, which should mean, under normal circumstances, that the North Pole is in the same quote-unquote location.
Yeah, which means it's in the same form of,
So
like,
if we
sunlight and
are
daylight.
going back into the normal, going back to the same time frame, it should still be daytime in the North Pole,
Yeah,
but it's not.
it's nighttime. As a matter of fact, take into account, it's nighttime when, for obvious reasons, at, like, when Tim Allen's going to visit Laura. That's obvious. It's like 10 p.m. in, like, the America. And then think about how long it takes for a plane flight. It's like, okay, then maybe, yeah, because plane flight, but it takes a really long fucking time that we never see any. Then,
To be honest, the flow time in the Santa Claus 3 is kind of distorted anyway.
Yeah, okay, alright. But if it
'Cause he
takes
goes-
time, then that means it would be more than 2 minutes since Santa left the in-laws.
He goes to the X's, it's nighttime.
Yes.
The North Pole
Yeah.
is still daytime. He
Sure.
goes to the in-laws, it's daytime now for them. It's still daytime in the North Pole. He flies back to the North Pole, it's daytime.
Yes.
So that would
Yeah.
imply that the North Pole is in a can't
Constant
call it
state
a
of
time
day.
zone. It's in the state of permanent day, basically.
Yes,
Right.
and that means there has to be unfortunate implications for it to ever be night in the bad future.
So does the whole movie take place on Christmas Eve?
No, I don't
No.
think it does. No, it doesn't
because-
because when he goes to visit the in-laws, I'm pretty sure there's a mention of like he's a little early or something, maybe.
Well,
It's like, I think it's like the 23rd. When
It's definitely not Christmas Eve when he goes to the in-law or not the
so
in-laws,
it's the
exes.
23rd when he reaches the X's, and then he flies overnight on Christmas Eve.
Well, hold on. We don't know that this movie only happens in the span of like 2 or 3 days. It could be like there's a time gap between when like he calls the in-laws and when he actually goes to get them. There could be a time gap there that we just don't witness.
Well, that can't be because the in-laws and the X's share the sleigh.
Ooh.
Wait. The fuck?
Yeah.
Oh,
'cause
shit!
the X's comment on how the in-laws were
Fuck, I
asleep
just
the whole
realized that.
time.
Yeah, I
Shit.
just remembered that.
You
Shit.
forgot about that. So he arrives at the X's, at nighttime. He gets to the in-laws during the day, which means that he would have had to fly overnight to get there.
Do we necessarily know that Tim Allen took the exes and Lucy with him that night? Or was it just an, okay, you can come up, I'll come get you when I get the in-laws or whatever? We can't say that that's not what happened.
We can't say that that's not what happens, but I can't see any other way that it would work out, because...
Oh, okay. What if they just lived at... Alright, the only other feasible way is if they lived at the other end of the country. That's still a long flight, but Santa doesn't give a shit about flight times.
That's possible. I think that's a firm possibility, actually.
Yeah, if they live at, like, different ends of America.
That would mean... Let's see, what would that mean? That would mean that the in-laws would have to live on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, alright, but here's the thing. Bud mentions that he went to Washington, New York.
To
which
go
means
see
implies
Sylvia's,
it's
like,
a long
sister or
distance.
something.
That implies to me that it's a long distance, which I think means he does live on the West Coast.
He says that Canada is too far away.
So
no, I think
the
it's more that it's
Southwest then?
too far away for him to visit, like, just on a whim. I think you could make an argument that going a greater distance to see family, you can, is more reasonable in his eyes, I guess.
Yeah,
Well, of
so wait.
course.
So I imagine he's somewhere on the West Coast. Let's try and whittle this down. What state? do you
California, because California is the West Coast.
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe they don't live exactly on the West Coast, though. Maybe they live a little more inland,
Yeah, but like somewhere on the West, like. But California doesn't seem unreasonable.
Hold on.
They're
How
far
often-
enough north that
No,
it's snowing.
No. Yeah, that's the thing. How often does it actually snow in California?
Wait. From what I remember, I remember the snow being inconsistent in like the Bud and Sylvia scene, because if you look out the window, there's like -5 snow out the window.
I think
when
that's
they're
more
actually
because
inside.
the bushes or whatever are against the house, so it can't get there as easily.
Maybe, but it's still something to consider.
It is
with this
windy
bullshit.
outside when they go in the house, though.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't think they live in
God.
California. They might actually live in Oregon. Which is
Ted,
a
I guess I know
terrifying
what
thought.
you need to do at some point.
Well, actually, but that would put them pretty close to Canada still. So, I think they would have to live like in the bottom, in like the southwest corner of the U.S.
Yes.
So,
But that
somewhere
means they
in
wouldn't
that
get
range.
much snow, I don't think.
Oh,
No,
shit.
they would, if they live far enough north, they would get snow.
Yeah, but we're saying they live in the south.
Well, that area.
America's a big country.
Yeah, exactly.
You can live in what's typically considered the Southwest and still be considered north enough to get snow.
Yeah.
I suppose. I'm just not used to countries being fucking massive.
Maybe our homework for this
wait.
week should... Yeah, go ahead.
They made a trip to Yosemite.
Yes.
Okay. See, I didn't think about that.
Oh,
the
yeah, that's
trip
an
to
angle we
Yosemite.
didn't consider.
Alright.
I think maybe our homework for this week should just be to figure out what state Bud and Sylvia live in.
There's a lot of homework for this week.
Oh,
And
I
I
forget
guess
what the
the-
first one was already.
And the exes, I suppose, figure out where they live as well.
Figuring out where everyone lives, figuring out what time frame this goddamn movie took place in.
Yep.
Figuring out if Grandma likes Goku or not.
Well, we already knew that. We already
Oh,
know
yeah.
that
Grandma
likes
loves Goku. Goku is Grandma's husbando.
I'm gonna have to ask you to never say that again.
Okay.
Okay.
You
I
can
say it?
ask. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna.
I know, and that's unfortunate.
That's fair.
Yeah, but we know that Goku is Grandma's husbando.
You didn't ask him not to say it again.
Moving right along. This is the last thing that I have on my notes. I I was thinking about it specifically during the scene where Jack Frost freezes the exes into little statues that are made of bad CG.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the movie would look like if you just removed all special effects from it entirely?
It would probably be more entertaining, honestly.
I think it would be very funny to watch Jack Frost walk slowly at two adults
and
while
breathe
blowing.
on them.
Yeah, breathing on them. And they're just so terrified that they walk into the bean closet and become paralyzed.
I think what would be even better is when they unfreeze, actually, and like Jack Frost is disintegrating, because then you don't have those special effects.
Oh yeah, he's just making a bunch of salamander noises
He's just
for no reason.
and then suddenly the parents start moving again out of nowhere.
They're shivering because of how terrified they are by Jack
Yeah,
Frost.
exactly.
They're so terrified it cured their paralysis.
You have Tim Allen wish that he never put on the coat, and
Yeah.
then Jack Frost hugs him, and they both scream for 12 seconds.
And then just disappear.
No, they don't disappear.
They just scream. They just scream, and then it's a smash cut to the next scene.
It's a smash cut to the next scene, but the next scene's entirely CG.
Well,
Well, no,
I
no,
think
no.
what it
And
is
so
No,
they're
no,
just
no.
standing in front of a green screen and pretending to fall.
okay. So the green screen still exists in this hypothetical cut of
In
the
this
movie.
hypothetical situation where there could not possibly be a backdrop that would make sense outside of CG.
Right. Maybe you could just cut that scene and just have them instantly fall into the snow? I don't know.
No, they don't even fall into the snow because they're already in the snow, face planted.
Santa falls off the roof, but instead of melting, he just sits there and Jack Frost strips him.
Oh no! he dies. And instead of melting, Jack Frost just straight up loots the corpse of a dead old man.
Okay. And then when he puts the coat on, he just stands there making like a T-pose.
Yeah, he T-poses.
And
And then Tim Allen looks at himself, and then he just says, "Oh no."
And then the next scene is just Tim Allen staring in a mirror.
I'm gonna make everything right, he says. And then he sits there in a blank room. And then the next scene, he's just in the North Pole. Oh my god. I'm dying. Oh, that's the stupidest idea. But it would be so funny.
I'm fucking crying.
oh god.
Cupid wouldn't fly. He'd just be a fully sized man in a toga with wings. He'd just walk in.
Oh my fucking god.
I can't- and the episode before I fucking die.
No, we can go first. Okay. No, alright. Lucy picks up Jack Frost, but it's not actually a snow. She just mimes throwing something to Jack Frost, and they're just staring at air.
I think the snow globe's real, though.
Is the content of the snow globe real, though?
You know what's
No,
not
that's
real? The Hall of
the-
Snow Globes.
Oh shit!
They just walk into a dome, and they just stare at like a little glass dome, and it's like this one's
And when Lucy is looking at the snow globe,
she's looking at it and nothing's fucking happening.
wow, and it turns pink.
It's
and
turning
then
pink.
Lucy was
The snow globe does not turn pink. Oh my god.
God.
oh my god. I've been Theodore.
Santa baby,
I've been Jacob.
just
I've
slip
been
a sable under
Merry
the
Christmas.
tree
Merry
for
Christmas.
me.
My throat hurts.
Sandman just points his hand at the old couple and says poof, and they fall asleep.
Down the chimney tonight.
Oh, fucking God.